So after downloading Git, let us now download one of the best GUI frontends for Git called SourceTree. This is made by an Australian software engineering company called Atlassian, and it is their community project, meaning the download is free, and they have, of course, other tools that they provide, of course, for you to pay for. But as far as SourceTree goes, so the URL is sourcetreeapp.com, and you get down here. So there's no version for Linux, unfortunately, but for Windows and Mac OS, it's by far the most complete and powerful GUI frontend for Git that is out there. So let's download the Windows version, and you will have to create a free Atlassian account. Atlassian also runs a service called Bitbucket, which is roughly identical to what GitHub and GitLab do. So they'll try to pitch Bitbucket to you during the installation process a couple times, and you can politely decline that. Let's just open up the setup for SourceTree. And here it is. So there used to be a difference between an Atlassian account, a Bitbucket account, and a Bitbucket server account. Atlassian has ported everything into the single service Bitbucket, so you can now either create a free Bitbucket account, which you now have to do. I'll just authenticate and log in with my personal Bitbucket account. Again, the service is free. It's a highly reputable company, so they really won't spam you or anything. And it brings up the login page for the Atlassian account. And again, you can also log in with a Google or Microsoft account if you so wish. And I like to have my different accounts separated, so I'm just going to use my personal Atlassian account. Using my password manager here to password. And that brings me to my Bitbucket account that, however, should here be notified that the login has actually worked. Jump someplace that doesn't recognize it. Let's try this again. And now we see the access for the account. So it's requesting access to Bitbucket, and you can grant access, and at which point the registration, as you can see here, is complete. And Git number one comes pre-installed. They have an embedded version of Git that they distribute. We also installed a regular system-wide Git, so we are good to go on that one. Mercurial is another distributed version control system that has been developed in parallel to Git, and there are a couple of software systems out there that use Mercurial, but it's fairly rare by now, and so you can definitely uncheck Mercurial. You don't need to install Mercurial for that. Just fine with Git. Then in order to set up SourceTree, you'll have to give it your name and email address for the logs, and so this is the full name, and that should be your full name. Then your preferred email address. This can be your cache email address or your private one. All of this is settable on a per repository basis down the road as well, so you don't have to commit to a single thing here. And I always like to keep network load low, especially in the time right now, so we really don't send usage data right now. And then Next up, we see that we have our remote repositories and local repositories available and everything to us. So there's one more thing you should do when configuring SourceTree. We already have configured it with a proper name and email address, but we can go here with tools and options and see again here under full name and email address. That's the information we just did. As far as the SSH client configuration goes, you see here putty blink. You don't have to provide your private key. Everything works via the authentication agent. But there was one more thing that we need to do in order to write proper commit logs, and this is down here under commit settings. So the first thing you want to do is you want to use a fixed width font for commit messages, and then you also want to display a column guide at 72 characters because that's the maximum recommended length for a line in a commit message. So, and just to keep you reminded about how you properly format commit messages. We'll talk about this in subsequent classes. These two settings should be the default. They aren't, so we have to set this here. Once we have that, we are good to go, and SourceTree is installed, and we can now go ahead and actually clone our first repo. But before we do that, we're going to install our IDE next, the Integrated Development